maybe not the big names. You don't have to attach player options to it. Anyway, let's go to Brian and BPA, excuse me. What's up, BPA? Good morning.
Hey, buddy.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, if they're gonna sell us on more Farhan, then they've become the sort of mid 2010s post Harbaugh 49ers, selling us on Tom Sula or Chip Kelly, right? The fan base isn't buying it one iota. Maybe obviously they're gonna activate their sycophants around them, right, to help sell but nobody's buying it. But they're gonna sell it anyways, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the Giants have become. It's a sad fall, really, from it. It's hard to put in stark enough terms how far this organization has fallen. Just total disconnect. Never seen the Giants this disconnected from their fan base ever. They used to care. They used to care too much.
Yeah.
I used to feel like, God, I wish you cared more about winning than you cared about your fan base. But they don't care about any of it. And it's clear they don't. And I'm not, the primary defense of Farhan seems to be, well, it's not for lack of trying, right? Yeah. I don't care. I don't care that he tried. I don't care that he wanted to do better. He didn't do better. It's a results-oriented business. And by the way, Warriors, 4 titles in 8 years. Niners, 3 of the last 4 NFC title games. Sorry, the San Francisco sucks play don't work.
No.
That's just not taking accountability for your own utter failure as GM. That's it.
Yep.
It's just absolving accountability of yourself and putting it on the city in which you play.
Yep. BPA, we got to run here. Good call, man. Good call. We appreciate the passion. We got 10 minutes with Fleming here. Dave Fleming, of course, the one and only Dave Fleming here on the Morning Roast. He joins us every single week, and we love the time we spend with Dave Fleming. He's one of the best announcers out there, whether it's college football. We'll get to Michael Penix Jr., and trust me, Flem, I watched the entire first half. 45 points in the first half. Poor Cal Berkeley getting lit up like that up in Seattle, Washington. But let's start with the Giants, who were officially eliminated from the postseason last night, losing 4-0 to the San Diego Padres. Now, Shasky and I have been batting around. What's the most disappointing aspect of this team? And I think we both came to the conclusion it's not seeing all the youngsters play out here during this lost season. What's the most disappointing aspect of this season, 2023, for the Giants, in your opinion, Flem?
Well, I mean, I just go big picture. I think this was the year, even putting 2021 aside, because I think in some ways that season is still hanging over everything that the Giants are doing, the way that Giants fans are looking at this franchise. And I'm not saying that's wrong. They won all those games in 2021. But even if you put that aside and just say that was a more normal year, I think everybody expected this to be a year where you took a big step forward as opposed to just kind of treading water. I mean, they just did not perform, so there wasn't a specific disappointment to me, but I fully 100% expected this to be a playoff team, and the fact that it's not. That's a big disappointment for me and for everybody around the team. I think everybody in that clubhouse and around this team thought this was going to be a playoff team.
Wow. When Logan Webb speaks, because it's so infrequent in terms of saying something with a lot of power, it means a lot to me because of who he is and how few times he says something that stern. What did you make of Logan Webb's comments this week?
I wasn't surprised because I know you guys don't get a chance to hear from him all that often, but I do get a chance to talk to him a lot. He doesn't often do what he did, come out very publicly. Usually he's pretty, private with his thoughts. But when I talk to him behind the scenes, he is exactly that passionate. Maybe even more so. I mean, he cares so much about this team. He really, really wants. I mean, I think part of the reason why when he was negotiating, tense is the wrong word, but Logan so badly wanted to make it work to where he was going to be here for his whole career, and he was going to be a Giant. He loves this franchise. He loves Northern California. So, like, more than anybody else down there, he's just invested in the whole deal. And he's passionate about it, and he pays attention to details. He's following everything about the Giants organization. He's following the minor league. He gets to know all the young kids before they come up. Like, Logan is one of the guys who, when these young kids get called up, he's there to greet them because he takes the time in spring training to get to know them. He wants to be the leader of this franchise. So it did not surprise me that he expressed a lot of frustration. And, you know, I mean, do we know exactly who he's talking to? I don't necessarily think we do, but it was pretty broad-based. I don't think he was leaving anybody out with that. And so it wasn't just, you know, these days with the Giants, everybody is pointing the finger at management, whether it's coaches and manager on field or front office. That is definitely not the only place that Logan was pointing the finger. I mean, he was calling out some of his teammates too, I think, in the way he said that.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. I can't remember a point in time this contentious during a Giants season. Can you, like, I mean, to hear all of this stuff coming out, I mean, we've had some great times, right? So I'm sure there are more organizations that have stuff like this more often than what the Giants have been through. So maybe I'm coming from a place of fan privilege here, but I can't remember a moment in time like this with this much stuff coming out of that clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to think about it. We've had a lot of volatile personalities over the years. So if we go a little farther back, I think we probably could find some examples.
Yeah.
But,
Benitez.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you combine some of the stuff you've heard from the locker room, whether it's pitchers unhappy about their roles or Logan, what he said, or, you know, there've been a few other things here of late. But when you combine that with the way the fans seem to be, I mean, it is. Giants fans are cranky right now. And, you know, the one thing I do think of sometimes, you know, when you think back to right before Buster got here, you know, there was Lincecum, there was Kane, Bumgarner was here, you know, briefly, Pablo was here, and the Giants still weren't, you know, midway through 2010, they were like a 500 team. 2009, they played well, but not well enough. And you know, it's far enough removed from the 2002 and 3 teams that to me is the comparable feeling for Giants fans. And, you know, the good news is when I think back to that time is because we were all like, God, when is this we ever going to get this thing turned back around? And why can't we make this happen? And then it just happened. And it happened fast. It makes me feel a little better to remember back to that time, to where sometimes you're not expecting the one player or the one thing to happen that kind of flips the whole thing around. And we haven't had it happen here yet, but that doesn't mean it can't be around the corner.
Yeah, we're talking to Dave Fleming, voice of the Giants, of course, college football, college basketball. He does it all. Golf as well. He's here on the Morning Rush. He joins us every single week on 95.7 The Game. So you call a lot of games all around the league, National League, American League. You're tapped in with the league. What is the Giants' reputation right now, Flem, around the league? Could they offer the most money to a said free agent and still finish in second and third place and trying to sign that free agent? Because we're hearing a lot about recruitment and guys not liking their roles here with the Giants. What is their reputation around the league? I'm very curious to see how the outside world, outside the Bay Area, looks at the Giants here.
Yeah, I still think they have a good reputation around the league. Players look at the Giants as an organization that does it the right way, that treats its players the right way. Those things do matter. And there's no question that when we go around the league, people still look at the Giants. In fact, in some ways, more than they ever have as a team that goes out of its way to make players and their families feel comfortable. And, you know, frankly, I believe, now this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I personally believe that actually the Giants have to spend some time this offseason wondering if they've gone too far in that regard. Like, I do believe, we have such a nice group of players on this Giants team. I like every single one of those guys. I spend a lot of time with them. And I don't want this to come across as like me sitting up 500 feet removed from the playing field and not realizing how hard it is what those guys do. But in some ways, the Giants have made it so comfortable for everybody that it is a very comfortable group right now. It's not an edgy, this is not an edgy Giants team at all. It's an extremely sort of even-keeled, nice guy team. And if I were in charge, I think I would be spending some time this offseason wondering whether, all the stuff that we're doing to make players feel comfortable has taken away a little bit of what you might need to compete once the game starts at the very highest level. I mean, that's just me. And that's not an individual criticism of anybody, but that's a long-winded way of saying Giants take care of their players. Players appreciate that. They have a very good reputation. But until you go out and prove that you're willing to go after the big guys and get the big guys, I think this regime does have to demonstrate that they can pull that off. Because I think that reputation lingers around the team right now, that they're willing to explore but never willing to go all the way. Some of that's unfair, but I think, sometimes you got to just go do it and shut everybody up.
No, that's very interesting, Flem. We got to run here because we're up against it real quickly. I love to know this stuff. I do it with Brian Balding. I do it with you. Where are you going to be this weekend?
I've got TCU at home against West Virginia, which is probably not a game that a whole lot of people in the Bay Area are really antsy to see. But
Sunny Dykes
in Fort Worth, Texas. Sonny, that's it. Yeah, we can have a little reunion. I used to do Sonny's games when he was here, and I haven't seen him in a few years, so I'm sure he's just going to be thrilled to see me again.
No doubt. We haven't heard about Sonny since he lost to prime time in Colorado. We'll do that next week, Flem. We'll give you a lot more time. I know we're a little running late here on time, but we'll do it next week. We'll end the season. We'll talk college football. We'll have a lot of fun next week. We always appreciate the time, though, Flem. Appreciate you, man.
No, it's my fault. I didn't have my phone next to me. I just wanted to make sure that caller who was on before me had time to vent about everything.
BPA. He's a legend on the Morning Roast, Flem. He is a legend. I've had to put him in Alcatraz a couple times because he gets a little heated here, but he's one of our favorite callers, no doubt. They care.
People care.
They do care. That's important.
Hey,
people still care.
I don't want to. I know you guys got to go, but I do. What he was saying about this city, and I do agree with that. I don't want to hear from anybody about taxes and California and all that. I mean, the biggest stars in sports are in California, and some of them are right here in San Francisco. So I do not believe that should be an impediment to building a championship baseball team. Should not be.
Well said, Flem. We'll talk more about that next week. We promise you. Safe travels to Fort Worth, Texas. We'll hear you on the call tonight.
Buddy.
Okay, see you guys. Thanks.
Flem. Bye-bye. All right.
Somewhere, Brian in Palo Alto is fist pumping in his car, and he deserves it.
Deserves it.
You can't die on this hill, man.
Hey, I'm not dying on that hill.
Hey, BPA.
Hey, listen, man.